Saturday Night is directed by Jason Reitman and follows the chaotic 90 minutes leading up to the first ever airing of Saturday Night Live. Gabriel LaBelle plays Lorne Michaels, the creator of Saturday Night Live, as he's trying to frantically pull all the strings together to make this thing work. We have NBC execs wanting this thing to fail. We have the crew in rebellion mode. We have fire starting, things crashing, actors wandering off, drugs, craziness. Everything that can go wrong does go wrong in this film, and I really enjoyed it. If there are two types of styles I always enjoy in movies, it's based on true event films. I just have a real soft spot for those. And then films that don't let you breathe. Films that are anxiety ridden through and through for the entire runtime and you just can't look away. And Saturday Night was the perfect blend of these two styles. I think the real-time approach to telling the story was an awesome idea, and it really immerses you into the story and characters. You feel like you're there with them, and you only have 90 minutes until this thing goes and everything's going wrong and everyone's running around all frantic. And it gets you in the headspace of those characters and the energy on set, and that must have been exhilarating but completely terrifying too. It makes for some really candid explorations of these characters. Obviously these were like unknowns at the time, and now we know them as, you know, these Hollywood A-listers that have been around forever. So it was interesting to learn of their personalities back then and kind of what made them who they are now. Everything in this movie is exceptionally well realized. The production design and attention to detail in recreating not only the scenes, but the set design and the costumes and the hair and just getting the actors to look like their real life counterparts was very impressive. And it makes for some really interesting moments. I'm not the biggest Saturday Night Live fan. I haven't really seen many sketches that they've done, especially not older ones. I'm of course familiar with all the actors, but you know, I've never really seen a lot of what they've done. So I was a little in the dark on certain callbacks or references they make here, but I did appreciate certain things, you know, like seeing Dan Aykroyd or Chevy Chase, Jim Henson or Andy Kaufman. They were really cool little nods, and it was interesting to see all these people come together at the same time in history. When it comes to the filmmaking at hand, I already talked about how great the production is, but the cinematography is equally as impressive. The staging and blocking here is phenomenal, and I can't imagine what rehearsals must have looked like. There had to have been a lot of planning here to pull off some of those one-ers and simulated long takes, and it pays off because they look so good in the movie. And the handheld really, again, immerses you into the frenzy of this world at the time. But this isn't just one of those films that's based on true events that aims to just recreate the most iconic moments. There is genuine character and story here, and genuine emotions as well. And I think the film pulls it off in a really interesting way, because you don't ever really go deep with these characters. There are some interactions that give you some substance to motives or what these characters are feeling with certain relationships, but all the interactions and all the characters only have like brief moments with one another. So it's really just a highlight of personalities, but these personalities tell a lot. And then of course you do get certain plot details that unveil like the motives or why certain characters are doing things, like the NBC execs really wanting SNL to fail. And so you really feel those stakes as tensions grow higher, things keep happening and going wrong. And what it amounts to in the end is super satisfying. And I mean, we all know that SNL worked out, but in the movie, the payoff is just great, and it's honestly pretty like emotional too. It does kind of make me wonder what may have been exaggerated or embellished here, because there are certain character details and plot details that happen that are kind of like, did it really happen that way? But of course, you know, reality is stranger than fiction, so who knows? Either way, this was still super entertaining and fun, so I don't really care that certain things may have been embellished or fabricated. I think it just worked for what the script and film was going for. When it comes to performances, everyone does a really solid job. There were a couple minor supporting characters that didn't entirely work for me, but that's a super minor detail. Gabriel LaBelle is great as Lorne, and he gives a really solid performance. Matt Wood really impressed me with his performance. So did Dylan O'Brien and Corey Michael Smith especially. Rachel Sennett was very good. Lamorne Morris was good. Cooper Hoffman was great. Really liked his performance. But no one outshone Nicholas Braun, in my opinion. He does a double performance. He plays both Jim Henson and Andy Kaufman, and both of those roles are very small here, but he leaves such an impression and he does such a great job with both of them. This film really moves, and the pacing and edit is super tight and it works super well. I was consistently engaged for the entire runtime, and I didn't feel like there were any big lapses or drawn out sequences. It knows when to push the energy and make it extra chaotic and crazy, but it also knows when to pull back and let the scenes breathe for a moment. And that's when the more emotional and dramatic moments really hit. When it comes to issues, there were a few minor things that stuck out, like an edit or two, a few shots that didn't work for me, some noticeable ADR, but those are all very minor gripes. Some of the acting didn't work for me, as I said, and some of the dialogue too felt a little too wordy / overwritten, but again, that's a very minor detail. My biggest issue with the film, and again, it's a minor issue, is that I do wish we got a little bit more at that ending. The ending is great, and I completely understand why they ended it where they did. We get to see like the first scene, the first sketch of the show as it goes to air. But I do wish we had gotten to see a little bit more. But again, I completely understand why they ended it where it did, and it worked pretty well. I do wish, however, that during the credits, we got to see some real life photos or real life videos of the original SNL cast. I think that would have been really cool, especially to compare with this film's cast. So that was a little disappointing. I would have especially liked to see the photo they take, if that was something that actually happened. But again, kind of a minor issue, but I did kind of miss out on that. So overall, Saturday Night was a great time. Not only is it a fast-paced, energetic recreation of a big historical moment in television history, but it's also a celebration of creativity and artistry and passion and doing what you love no matter what people say. And I thought that was really cool. We really get to know these characters well. And even though they are kind of all assholes, like these are kind of unlikable people, you know? But you are rooting for them at the end. And like I said, once, you know, they go on air and it kind of works out, then you're like, heck yeah, that's awesome. It really does go to show though, like even when famous people aren't famous yet, they are kind of arrogant and cocky, but I guess you got to kind of have a little bit of that to make it. But great performances, great production, excellent cinematography, just solid filmmaking all the way around. All of it comes together and makes for a very enjoyable, entertaining film. It's funny, it's dramatic, it keeps you on the edge of your seat sometimes. Willem Dafoe plays a great villain. Oh my gosh, and J.K. Simmons is wild in this movie. There is that one scene, people who have seen it will know what I'm talking about, where I was like, oh, that's crazy. Everyone's great in this. The filmmaking is great. It looks great. It sounds great. It has a few little problems in my opinion, but nothing major. This was just a really good time at the movies, and I would highly recommend seeing it, especially in a theater. And so this will definitely be a must cop for the Blu-ray collection when that comes out. And I also really want to watch the first ever SNL episode now. And so those are my thoughts on Saturday Night. Have you seen the movie? If you have, did you like it? Did you not like it? Let me know. If you enjoyed my thoughts, give the video a like and hit that subscribe button if you're new. Otherwise, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next movie review.